From iRacing's virtual Crandon International Off-Road Raceway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the 2022 Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Challenge Cup, powered by Next Level Racing. We're happy that you're spending this Wednesday evening with us on Racecraft TV. We're alongside Joshua Lee and myself, Evan Pasoko. Happy to welcome you into the broadcast booth as we get set for a very unique challenge here from Crandon, Wisconsin. Joshua, we have seen many of these stars throughout the years with the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series at both the Pro 2 and the Pro 4 championships. Tonight, though, both of those off-road truck categories going to be on track and at the same time in this unique two-class format.
Well, you just mentioned it right there, Evan. It is unique. It is honestly one of the few forms of multi-class racing that we get on the iRacing service with these off-road trucks. And we've been doing this for a couple of years now. This is our third or fourth time doing this rodeo. And every time it never fails to be entertaining. For anybody who's never watched a Challenge Cup before, basically, we take the Pro 4s, we take the Pro 2s. The Pro 2s go immediately at the start of the green flag from our race control. Pro 4s start 35 seconds later than the Pro 2s, and the only objective for those Pro 4s is to try and get by as many Pro 2s as possible. The only objective for the Pro 2s, try and keep as many Pro 4s at bay and try and be the overall winner at the end of the night.
It's going to be a sprint race, 12 laps total distance tonight. As you mentioned, those Pro 4s going to have a 35-second delayed start compared to the Pro 2s. And naturally, the question at the top of everybody's mind, Josh, is that going to make a difference, right? We're looking at the qualifying session happening right now. About 6 minutes left for these drivers to put down 4 laps to line everybody up. Through this point in the night, Pro 4s have been the faster of the trucks by about anywhere from 2 to 3 seconds. That's going to line up almost exactly in line when you take that time times the number of laps to make this one close at the end of the race. And you'll also be able to stay up to date with who is in what truck by looking at that color coding on your scoring pylon left-hand side of your screen. So I posed the question to you, is it going to be a Pro 4 or a Pro 2 in victory lane this afternoon?
Well, I would normally say it would be a Pro 4 because, you know, they're so much faster. They have that all-wheel drive that is helping them. You mentioned it being about 2 to 3 seconds faster. And that name at the top of the board right now of our Pro 4 is Cameron Peterson. You know, we haven't seen much of him lately in the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series, but he is back for the Challenge Cup. And every time he gets in one of these trucks, he is a threat. But with Josh Edmondson at the top of the Pro 2s and with Tyson Miller there, Josh Fox even getting into one of the Pro 2s, the driver for Williams Esports when it comes to the RX series in iRacing, I have a feeling the Pro 2s are going to prevail because it is only 12 laps and that 35 seconds is substantial at the start. If Edmondson and if the other Pro 2s get a really good start, it's going to be very difficult for the Pro 2s to get anywhere close.
And I think it is interesting as well. We've seen some of these drivers go head-to-head tonight, and yes, they will be with both classes on track at the same time. But the two winningest drivers all time in the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series across the Pro 2 and Pro 4 championships are in different classes tonight. Cameron Peterson, 7 wins total. Josh Edmondson, 6. They each lead their respective class in the qualifying session. So we might see another historic battle between those two as the night goes on. Racecraft TV's Ian Fisher going to be keeping us up to date on all of that action as well as the night goes on. Mostly everybody has qualified in. I think the one point that I was looking for, Josh, was were we going to see a Pro 2 truck out-qualify a Pro 4? So far, not the case. 10 and 10, the order. Vinny McDonald is scheduled to start this race from a Pro 4 truck. He has not taken a time, though, in qualifying, but it is very clear where the speed is. However, when you get down to the Aces of the world, Josh Edmondson only 4 tenths off of what that 33 truck did for 10th and 11th.
very close times indeed from the kind of the tail end of the Pro 4s, like you mentioned, and the top end of those Pro 2s, and a couple more laps being taken by a couple more drivers out there on the track currently as we focus on that next level racing number 58 of Josh Edmondson. But do want to make something just a little bit clearer, of course, how we do our starts. Basically, with all the Pro 4s lined up on the front row of the Crandon Land Rush start, the signature Land Rush start that we keep here for the Challenge Cup, all the Pro 2s will make their way to the front of the grid. They'll work their way around the Pro 4s, get lined up in their respective grid spots in the Pro 2s, and then they'll take off for their start based on when race control goes green. So no matter if we see any Pro 2s out qualify any Pro 4s, they will still start in different spots. So that qualifying really only comes down to just bragging rights a little bit, Evan, and maybe making those Pro 4s just a little bit more nervous. But I want to highlight real quick Alex Bergeron in second place right now. Of course, usually seeing him in the World of Outlaws series, we saw him be one of the rising stars in his rookie season of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. How about him? Second fastest on the board in his Pro 4.
It is really impressive stuff at a Bergeron ahead of guys like Christopher Plumley, who were big players just recently over the course of the 2022 Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Championship that has already been run to this point in the Pro 2s. Of course, that title was taken home by the likes of Keaton Swain, who I don't believe is contesting the race here this afternoon. So Plumley's got an opportunity to step up to the plate. You see that 16 truck still working around a Bergeron. He has completed his 4 laps, so he's just going out there for a little bit of extra practice. And talking about Keaton Swain, there he is, in fact, will be contesting this one. Didn't see him because he had yet to put down a time. He will be part of that Pro 2 category, so maybe a challenger for Edmondson here. Neither of his last 2 laps have counted. Let's watch to see when he completes this lap. Now down at the far end of the racetrack, the hairpin turn number 4, where he slots in amongst those drivers highlighted in green.
This is going to be really interesting to see where Keaton Swain is going to end up on this grid. You can see that current lap time down on the lower third at the bottom of your screen, but 1 minute 10 seconds left. He will get this lap in, but Evan, this is going to be the only lap that he is able to put in. Is he going to be faster than Edmondson? Can he beat Josh Fox? Can he get up to the likes of Tyson Miller? We're going to find out with only 2 corners left to go, but this is going to really change the way we look at how these Pro 2s contest tonight if Keaton Swain can shoehorn his name up to the top of the board. And at 1 minute 10 seconds, needs to get back around this final corner in about 9. It's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to contest with the top guys of the Pro 2s. He comes across the line. It's going to be a 120.5. He won't contest with the top. He's going to be about midfield of the Pro 2s. Bit surprising from the 21.
And you gotta wonder what the strategy was going wide in that last corner. There's only some 20 seconds left on the clock. It almost looked to me like he was going wide to build up speed for a run here. Now time will expire. The qualifying session will not immediately end. The question is, how much time will the iRacing service give Keaton as a buffer to try to complete the lap that he is currently on? You can see the clock at the top left corner of your screen. Strike 0. He will not be able to finish it, so a strange call. Gonna put Keaton Swain middle of the road, and just like that, the qualifying session has drawn to a close, and we know how the drivers will line up in their respective classes.
And Evan, this is going to be really interesting as the field takes to the grid. Of course, we're waiting on seeing them all work their way to the grid. But Evan, I'm excited to see how this one's going to work. Pro 2s versus Pro 4s. It's always exciting, especially here at Crandon with the Land Rush start.
It is going to be an exciting one, of course, modified, but we are about to find out who's going to take home this Challenge Cup checkered flag in 2022. So we'll take an opportunity to step aside. When we come back, we'll say, let's go racing from Crandon. You're watching Racecraft TV's coverage of the virtual off-road racing series. And back live from iRacing's virtual Crandon International Off-Road Raceway as we are set to go racing in the 2022 Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Challenge Cup powered by Next Level Racing. Back inside the Racecraft TV booth, qualifying has drawn to a close. Evan Pasoko and Joshua Lee with you alongside Ian Fisher downstairs. The Pro 2 trucks ready to line up on the front row to get a head start here across our two truck classes. So it'll be the slowest category of drivers. Josh Edmondson remained the fastest of the Pro 2 trucks. You'll see his 58 truck to the very inside of the front row, which is where you'll find all of the Pro 2s. It is Edmondson, Fox, Miller, Janes, and Vandenbush the first five, Swain, Johnson, Kerr, Budzian, and Elkins. A look at your Pro 2 lineup on the front row. Now remember, you're going to see those Pro 2 trucks fire off first. They're going to get about a half a lap advantage by the time the stopwatch clocks down. Then the Pro 4s will be sent, Joshua, and then we'll see as they try to catch up.
And that's all this is. It is the Pro 4s trying to chase down the Pro 2s. This is the ever-long argument. Me and Ian, we did the group therapy 100.5 or 1.5, excuse me, just a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago even. And where that was, we saw a handful of Pro 2 lights beating out on the Pro 4s that they were racing, and the faster Subaru RX machines getting beat by the Beetle lights. It's the age-old question when it comes to short course, when it comes to off-road racing. What's faster, the Pro 4s or the Pro 2s? On paper, it goes one way, but we've got a lot of scores to settle tonight.
And I think the funnest part's going to be once those Pro 4s start getting up through Pro 2 traffic, is that four-wheel drive going to help them in some of the head-to-head battles on top of course, the better top speed. You can see them lined up. Pro 2s on the front row, Pro 4s on row number 2, waiting for the sign from race control that this race is going to go green. And then, of course, they'll all have to funnel in from that land rush start and get through the tricky right-hand turn number 5 kink. It is basically an entire half a lap before you actually begin lap number 1 of 12 in this race. Another important thing to talk about, we're always talking about the halfway caution in these virtual off-road racing series events. Of course, given the time penalty of the Pro 4s, you will not be seeing that here this afternoon. So it is going to be 12 lap sprint non-stop from start to finish.
And that's going to be a big thing. No halfway caution, no help for these Pro 4s trying to catch these Pro 2s. It is all that they have for 12 laps. That doesn't sound like a lot, and it really isn't, Evan, but at this full config of Crandon, just makes it a little bit longer, a little bit more time for these Pro 2s to have to hold off, and there they go.
Green flag in the air. We are racing for the Vors Challenge Cup, powered by Next Level Racing. There's contact on the very outside. The 21 truck, Swain, gets into it with the 50 machine back there at Greg Johnson, but up in front, your pole sitter for the Pro 2s, Josh Edmondson, to an early class lead. Josh Fox in second, and despite the contact early, Keaton Swain in third, ahead of a battle for 4th and 5th that sees Taylor Vandenbush and Lance Elkins side by side. They get together as the field heads to turn 7.
And those Pro 2s now, or Pro 4s, excuse me, are getting ready to go. There they go. Cameron Peterson is going to lead this group into turn 1 at Crandon. Alex Bergeron sitting to his outside. Look at Christopher Plumley dropping a little bit back, and one driver going to get up into the air. That was the purple and black machine towards the back of the field. I believe that was Danny Aish getting into it, or one of the other trucks back there. But at the front, it is Cameron Peterson taking the early lead of the Pro 4s. And at the current moment, Evan, that gap is going to be about 30 seconds. How quickly is it going to shave its way down, and how racy are these Pro 4 drivers going to get with each other? They have one common goal, which is to pass as many Pro 2s as they can, but they also have a race going on intra-class with themselves.
Yeah, that's going to slow them down, right? They're not doing hot laps to catch up to the race leaders. They're going to be slower as a group racing against one another than they would be if they were racing in unison, right? So they're going to slow each other down, and at a 30-second deficit, as the scoring pylon drops in, they're going to have to average about 2.5 seconds faster than the Pro 2s in front of them if they're going to close in that 30-second gap by the time this race is done. But certainly the cards are stacked against the Pro 4s because they're not only fighting with each other, but then they're also going to have to start to fight with all of those slowest of the Pro 2 category once they catch up there. On board with the 21 truck, looking off in the back of Keaton Swain, still third in class as he runs right there, second in class as you watch now the battle with Keaton Swain and Fox, I should say, up towards the front of the field. This is all because Josh Edmondson has pulled 1.3 seconds ahead of them. That is great news for the 58 truck as they fight for second and third on the podium.
And you know who that's not good news for is the Pro 4s. Yes, it is Cameron Peterson at the front, but as long as Josh Edmondson continues to run solid laps at the front of this field, it's going to be very difficult for anybody further back to try and catch up because he keeps swinging his truck through that tree corner at the end of the long configuration of the Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. And now they're starting to spread out a little bit at the front of these Pro 2s, and back in the Pro 4s, they're getting a little bit closer together as Cameron Peterson has not pulled away as much as Josh Edmondson at the front of the Pro 2s, but 6/10 is still nothing to scoff at for that number 48 machine. And wondering, Evan, his little bit of a time off in the past 2 seasons, the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series, is going to give him a little bit of a disadvantage when he's racing a lot of these drivers in the Pro 2s. Of course, last time we saw him was the Pro 2 Championship before the last one, which we had a Pro 2 Championship just recently in Virtual Off-Road Racing Series competition, and then we had a Pro 4 Championship at the end of last year that we also had to deal with, and he was in the Pro 2 Championship before that Pro 4 Championship. A lot of time off from racing in the e-short course world.
And you talk about all the success he had with those 2 Pro 2 titles in 2020 and then 2021. Interesting to see Cam Peterson to make his return in the Pro 4 class of all. He continues to lead that class of trucks right now ahead of Bergeron second in class, Plumley third in class, so no change there in the order in which they started. Fourth in the class, Retzlaff is kind of the tail end of that lead group who did make 2 passes from earlier on. Jumping back up towards the front of the field and looking on with your Pro 2 category, the 217 of Anthony Janes has slid back to the number 8 position as he runs right now. He's just ahead of a couple of challengers you see up the road for the perspective of Scott Kern. You got James up the road, then Johnson, Miller, Budzian, and Vandenbush. This is all for the middle of the road inside of the battle up front. These trucks about 4 seconds off for the race leader, but still an impressive 28 seconds ahead of the Pro 4s behind them.
It looks like issues for Lance Elkins there, just a little bit coming off of that jump. He got spun around in that number 29. Now, that is going to move this gap a little bit further down for the Pro 4s to catch their first Pro 2. Now, the objective, of course, for these Pro 4s isn't just to reach the back end of the Pro 2 field. They want to climb their way up through the Pro 2 field, but it really depends on how quickly they get to this last driver of the Pro 2s and how quickly they can navigate their way around. Right now, it's Lance Elkins, and we can take a look at that gap. Cameron Peterson just a little bit less than 7 seconds behind Lance Elkins, and you can see as he works his way through that tight-knit corner, goes down a little bit more. I think that really goes to show how much grip that Pro 4 has working its way through these hairpin corners, especially here at Crandon. Those Pro 2s can't contest as much in that grip department. Of course, there's only 2-wheel drive powering them.
Going to be, I mentioned earlier, right, when they start contesting each other for position, how much of an advantage is that 4-wheel drive going to give these guys, right? Obviously, single truck speed. If this was a hot lap competition, the scoring pylon would an invert of what you're seeing now, right? All those blue Pro 4 class trucks were at the top of the board. There's no doubt that they were better, but the head start helps out the Pro 2s. Defense might help them out a little bit as well, but I think when you get into those side-by-side fights, the advantage is undoubtedly in favor of the Pro 4s. You can see Elkins there for a moment. He is the last place truck of the Pro 2s, 10th on track at the moment, as we see a nice slide there. But the 524 of Mike Budsian, he's in battle with Tyson Miller for 5th and 6th overall. You can see trucks basically everywhere you look on this virtual Crandon International Off-Road Raceway, but we are almost towards the halfway point, already working lap number 5. And I'll tell you what, Joshua, I don't see the intervals out of the Pro 4s that I think they're going to need to get up there. They are still 28 seconds from Cam Peterson up to Josh Edmondson right now.
And you can see Lance Elkins getting up and into the grass and way wide. This is going to give Cameron Peterson a perfect opportunity, and there he goes. That is one Pro 2 now gone. Pro 4s have officially caught up to the Pro 2s, but now it becomes a completely different race for Cameron Peterson. Yes, he's caught one, but Lance Elkins was far and away off the pace of the Pro 2s, so they've gotten one. They have 9 to go, but now we take a look at that gap. It's another 12 seconds for Cameron Peterson to try and make up on Scott Kerr, and the names as we go through the Pro 2s are really second to none. He's got to go through Scott Kerr, Anthony James, Greg Johnson, Tyson Miller, Mike Budsian, Taylor Vandenbush, Josh Fox, Keaton Swain, and Josh Edmondson. They just get tougher and tougher as we go up the timing tower.
Hey, that's going to be critical as well, right? I mean, we talk about this being a 12-lap sprint. So much of the strategy in a typical race with the Pro 2, with the Pro 4 Championship, is that midway reset, right, to close everybody up. Sure, a big storyline in this is the gaps, is the speed difference, Pro 2 to Pro 4. But Josh Edmondson and Keaton Swain right now are just really, really fast, right? That could be a big difference as well as we start to see these Pro 4s pick people off. They're going to get to a top 5 spot, no doubt. But the fact that Edmondson and Swain are putting 5, putting 6 seconds on the truck's third on back could be the difference between winning this race or coming home on the second or third step of the podium. You're watching an At Tyson Miller right there trying to get back on Mike Budsey, and this battle for 5th and 6th has been going on for quite some time. The last lap for both of these trucks, a 1:21. For reference, the Pro 4s in the 1:18 bracket, that 3-second difference in 15 seconds apart lets you know that they would catch these drivers on the second to last lap. But Miller over-rotates that time, pulls back up, and a lot of contact there as he slowed down Janes and Johnson, and now that trio will get taken out of the battle with the Budsian, and now Mike is pretty comfortable in the 524 truck in P5.
And of course, these Pro 2s are going to continue to fight amongst each other. Of course, they're racing their own race as well as trying to race these Pro 4s that are chasing them down. And you mentioned that 3 seconds faster a lap, and that was specifically from Cam Peterson to Scott Kerr, as now the gap is going down to about 6 seconds. Still a good bit of time left, 6 laps to go, and if they continue to keep it up, last time by Scott Kerr, a 1:21.7. Last time by for Cam Peterson, 1:17.5. So he's gaining a little bit of time back. Last time it was 4 seconds the gap. He should be catching him within a couple of laps, and then it gets a little bit easier for Cameron Peterson once he's able to catch the back bumper of Scott Kerr, because then he only has 5 tenths up to Anthony James. He's got another 4 tenths up to Tyson Miller. And then he has 3 seconds up to Greg Johnson. Of course, as he goes up a little bit, the gaps start to grow and grow and grow. I think, right, like you mentioned, Evan, I don't see it working the way of Cam Peterson working his way all the way up to first, but I think he has a really good chance at getting to that tight-knit group of Miller, James, and Kerr and being able to pick them off very, very quickly. Greg Johnson, Mike Budsey, and Taylor Vandenbush might be a different story with only 5 to go.
Tricky thing for him is going to be, I think, if everybody was ghost trucks, right? You could just drive through everybody. They didn't have any impact on your race. I think Peterson could get to second, maybe to first. But the problem is he is going to lose time. Take a mental note. He's running high to mid 117s, right? A 117.6 for him, 1:17.9s for Bergeron and Plumley. The key is going to be when he gets to that aforementioned group of Kerr, James, and Miller, who are fighting right now off and into the hairpin corner far into the racetrack in 4. When he deals with this, he is going to lose time, and the intervals say that he cannot afford to lose time. I think Peterson may be looking at best towards a 4th, maybe a 3rd, if he can continue to lead the Pro 4 contingent. That's not to say that there's not great fighting amongst the Pro 2s. You're looking at it now. That is Tyson Miller and Anthony James doing a battle. James into the K-rail on the outside, and Miller's going to go underneath off to turn 7.
And you can see off the back end of Scott Kerr, Cameron Peterson is catching. And you just mentioned that James versus Miller battle. That's right in front of Scott Kerr. Greg Johnson is also there. So Cameron Peterson can see 4 trucks. He can see P6 in front of him. Here comes the 48 as the 84 gets stopped. And there's contact. Truck over onto its lid. The 16 of Bergeron gets around. Plumley gets around Peterson as well. And now they pick off 2 trucks, but Cam Peterson loses the Pro 4 lead.
And that was the mistake that they could not afford. Wrong place, wrong time, and Peterson went absolutely over top of Scott Kerr, and Kerr, abandoned on his lid, is going to fall out of contention for the race. You'll see a second look here. There's Peterson up and over, and the driver who barrels through, Alex Bergeron, who is now the class leader of the Pro 4 trucks and is in a huge battle right here. He's going to go to the outside, 3 wide, Peterson to the inside. He gets into the fence. Bergeron spins up and over. Goes Christopher Plumley, and the hits keep coming for your Pro 4 leaders, and Cam Peterson now back to the class lead.
That was intense. How about that move to the bottom for Peterson? He just got too close to that inside wall. Evan slams into it, and right up the track he goes into the 3 drivers on top of him. Let's take another look. He's going over the whoops here. You're on board with Cam Peterson, and he goes to the inside, goes for the bold move, and there's the tap to the wall. There's the tap to Tyson Miller. He taps Bergeron, he taps Plumley, and that was that. But Cam Peterson back to the lead, but this has undoubtedly now, Evan, stalled his momentum on the Pro 2s in front. He's got 2.4 seconds now to try and regain on Greg Johnson, and that's only for P6.
Yeah, I mentioned the ceiling. It might have been 4th and maybe 3rd. I think his ceiling is now P6. I just don't know if he's going to be able to get up to Budzian 5 seconds up the road, considering how much Peterson and company have struggled every single time they have tried to pass a Pro 2, and it's been a mixed bag of results. Sometimes it's because, well, the closing rates a lot, but other times they've just gotten unlucky. They have gotten caught up in the mess of Pro 2s wrecking in front of them at inopportune times, and have just had really no opportunity to go around and make a move. You're looking off in the back of the battle for the number 6 position. Johnson's got it, but for how long? Here come those fast but battered Pro 4 trucks from behind.
And Peterson has Cody Retzlaff in tow with him. You can see both of them right there. Now trying to navigate their way around this Pro 2. Can they do it safely and in a timely manner with 2 to go? Evan, the story of this race has really changed. The story isn't can the Pro 4s now catch all the way up to the lead of the Pro 2s. It really is, can they get into the top 5? Cameron Peterson gets around Greg Johnson. Cody Retzlaff does as well. With 1 to go this time by, you just saw that blue and white number 524 bottom of your screen. Mike Budzian is next on the Pro 4's list, but with 1 to go this time by, they're going to need to get by him in a timely manner, and with another 3.5 seconds up the road to Taylor Vandenbush, I just don't see the Pro 4s getting any further up than 5th if they're even able to get around Mike Budzian with the white flag this time.
Give me the question, because with one lap to go, Josh Edmondson up front is on cruise control. He has led the first 11. He's going to go wide to the right-hand turn number 8, and white flag in the air. One more lap away from a Challenge Cup win for Edmondson. Swain still second in class and second overall. Fox third in class, third overall. As you watch the battle, Peterson with Retzlaff up the inside. You got the entry of Mike Budzian now, who's going to lose out to both of them. Going to come back down underneath the 525 of Retzlaff. They're going to duel for 7th and 6th position, but Peterson will see the top 5.
He'll barely see the top 5, and I don't think he's going to get any further than that. There's the white, black, and green number 89 of Taylor Vandenbush up the road. Can Peterson get to him? You can see that dive into the hairpin. He's going for it, but I don't think he has enough to be able to catch up. The gap now, 1.4 seconds. He's going to have about 3 more corners left to try and settle it. This is going to be interesting here, Evan, to see if he's able to catch up, but you mentioned Edmondson on cruise control. 2 corners left. The 58 is looking to get this win, but Peterson now is getting closer to Vandenbush. This could be a last-minute pass for 4th.
Trying to get there in the closing laps of this race. Up front, Josh Edmondson going to be picture perfect, his 7th career Vors win as he takes home the Challenge Cup, powered by Next Level Racing. Swain for 2nd, Fox 3rd. Here's the battle for 4th, and on the inside, Peterson, last lap, last corner pass to lead the Pro 4s to a 4th place finish.
What a last-minute move from Cameron Peterson. He was down and out, I would argue, when he had that incident, but he was able to keep going and rally back to get 4th overall and, of course, stay at the top of that Pro 4 field. Alex Bergeron comes home 4th, and as we wait for just a couple more stragglers to come across the line, Evan, that was nothing short of exciting, and what a way to finish out the Challenge Cup. And again, what a win for Josh Edmondson. Completely dominant tonight, just like he was in a lot of races of the last season, the Pro 2 Championship for the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series.
No surprise that Josh Edmondson's able to keep the momentum rolling, his 3rd Virtual Off-Road Racing Series sanctioned win of the 2022 calendar. As we take a look at your Challenge Cup full results, powered by our friends at Next Level Racing, and these look like explosive margins. 6.1 seconds to Keaton Swain, 8.4 seconds to Josh Fox. Keep in mind that those are all gaps to trucks in class. Then you saw the last second pass for Cam Peterson, the highest finishing Pro 4 driver, more than 12 seconds behind, but we did see all the drama, all the incidents that he, Retzlaff, and Semino had to go through. You have to wonder if that played a factor and how close they were able to get. It's Vandenbush in the top 5, Retzlaff 6th, Budzian going to be 5th of the Pro 2s and 7th, and then a handful of Pro 4s at Bryce Semino, Alex Bergeron, and Christopher Plumley, your top 10.
And we had about 20 drivers take the green flag. Greg Johnson, Connor Parisi back from there. Aiden Bierlein finishes in P13. Nick Larson 14th with Daniel Aish rounding out the top 15. And then from back on there, problems for a handful of these drivers. We saw the problems from Lance Elkins tonight. Thomas Grady also running into a bit of problems in his Pro 4. Anthony James, Tyson Miller, and Scott Kerr rounding out the top 20. And rounding out the final spot was Vinnie McDonald. I don't believe he ever took the green flag tonight, but he was registered for the event. What do you say, Evan? Let's get started with the post-race show. And we've talked to him pretty much every round of Virtual Off-Road Racing Series competition this season. He's back with us in the booth. You're standing by with Edmondson.
That's right. Josh Edmondson is the race winner of tonight's Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Challenge Cup presented by Next Level Racing. Josh, congratulations on the win. We'll talk specifics in a moment, but first, just tell us what it was like to be in this format, to know that you were in the Pro 2, the slower the categories, and basically scoreboard watch it as this race went on. Try to be as clean as you can and take advantage of that head start that you guys had.
Yeah, you nailed it. I was definitely watching the times there. It was really lucky for me to get out to a clean start like that and be able to just focus on putting my laps in. I knew with the timing, if I could do that, that I could stay in the lead. It sounded like the Pro 4 guys had a pretty heated battle going on there and probably cost themselves a lot of time. And yeah, that was advantage for me getting out clean and just trying to run solid laps.
Of course, Crandon, a place that you're no stranger to, and opted to go for the Pro 2 for this. What were some of the keys that you focused on, right? Because the conversation for the Pro 4 guys was going to be making up the gap and also making the passes. You had the advantage, a qualified best in class, getting the inside of the land rush start, and then getting out to a lead. So what were some of the Pro 2 truck specific things you had to do to get around here at Crandon quick to build your advantage, not only over those Pro 4s, but over Keaton Swain and Josh Fox, who were in the same truck as you?
Yeah. Sorry, you got to be really smooth. Obviously, these Pro 2 trucks are a little harder to drive. I much prefer them, and it's kind of what made me pick this class was Keaton and I were kind of talking back and forth. We wanted to battle it out after the Pro 2 season we had, and so we both agreed to race this class against each other, and went 1-2 again, so that was cool. Happy to win that. But yeah, it was really just being clean in the early laps and trying to establish that gap and not let the Pro 4s catch us, and putting a little bit of room to where I could focus on my lines in between Keaton and I was definitely huge for me.
If you count this amongst the Pro 2 and Pro 4 championships that we've seen through the years, your 7th overall win here in the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series, how do you keep this momentum up with the 58 truck for what's next on the VORS calendar?
Yeah, it's a big win. It's definitely a huge, boost for me. I always like to win around these guys. There's a lot of fast guys here, and I need the momentum right now. We're going into this World Championship Series, and that's going to be my main focus for the next several months. And then after that, we'll see. I'm not sure. Maybe get back into another Pro 2 season or something. But after this race, we're going full out into the Pro 4s, getting ready for that World Championship.
And we're looking forward to seeing how you and everybody else does. Before we let you go, Josh, as always, sponsors, shout-outs, those good folks who makes all of this possible for you.
Yeah, shout out you guys putting on the broadcast. Stoked to go back and watch that. And Next Level Racing for, obviously being my title sponsor and sponsoring this race. It's really cool. So stoked I could get the win for them. And then everybody else on my team, Jim Beaver Esports, Next Level Racing, like I said, Vision Wheel, Dirtfish, General Tire, Rigid Industries, all the guys on the team, Cam, Connor, all those dudes. And yeah, looking forward to the next one.
We appreciate the time again, Josh. Congratulations on your race win here tonight at Crandon. So that is your overall winner representing the Pro 2 class. Josh Edmondson is victorious tonight in the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Challenge Cup powered by Next Level Racing. I'll hand things over to our Joshua Lee. He's standing by with Keaton. Comes home in second.
And Keaton, it was a great effort from you in second, and we didn't see really you propel yourself in qualifying. You qualified about mid-pack of the Pro 2s, but 4 spots really gained off the land rush start. I wouldn't say that's too shabby.
Yeah, not too bad of a start there. I'm actually not on my rig. I'm on my buddy Trevor Teal's rig tonight, so big shout out to him for letting me use his rig, but just wasn't what I was used to, but we made the best of it and came home P2, so can't complain too much.
Of course, you're no stranger to this Challenge Cup format, and no Pro 4s were able to just catch up to you, Edmondson or Fox tonight, but were you focusing mainly on those Pro 4s catching up behind you, or were you focusing on trying to just take that overall, take that Pro 2 win away from Edmondson as he just continued to get into the distance in front of you?
Yeah, I definitely wasn't too worried about the Pro 4s. I was watching my relative and didn't see any of them come up real close till about 2 to go. So my main focus was just trying to reel in Josh, but I just kept making a couple too many mistakes there that ended up costing me. But, Josh was on it tonight, and he's tough to beat, doesn't make many mistakes. So when I make mistakes myself, it's tough to beat him.
Well, you're borrowing Trevor Teal's rig tonight, Keaton, and I have to ask, did you also borrow his pickle suit as well, or did you leave that out of the equation?
No, I wanted to, but he told me I couldn't, so that's his deal. Maybe next time I'll bring some better luck.
Yeah, maybe next time maybe that was the 6 seconds that you were missing from Josh Edmondson at the front. Maybe you just need to wear the pickle suit. But Keaton, congratulations on your second place finish and podium finish tonight. Who do you have to thank? Who makes it all possible for you and the team?
Yeah, I just got to thank Plants Parts Company, Factory SimSport, SimCoach Pedals, ZK Designs. Everyone that helps out Josh's Forwards League and all his special events, and of course you guys for doing the broadcast.
Great to hear from you again, Keaton. And once again, congratulations on your second place finish tonight.
Thank you.
Evan, we'll toss it back to you. And unfortunately, no pickle suit for Keaton Swain. I don't think we're going to have a pickle suit either for our Williams Esports driver, Josh Fox, who finished in third.
Yeah, maybe not the case, but what we will have is a third step on the podium for the driver of the number 12 Chill Blast truck entry. And Josh, congratulations first off on hanging on to that top 3 spot, finishing just ahead of the highest finishing Pro 4 in Cam Peterson, who came home. What was this like for you being in the Pro 2 category, knowing that those Pro 4s were coming eventually, while also try to balance race it against the other guys in the Pro 2s?
Yeah, thanks, guys. It really is a balance and trying to hang on and knowing that every corner matters so much. And I was pretty much by myself the whole race. I was only able to watch Josh and Keaton ahead of me. So I really just tried to focus on hitting my corners right, because in the Pro 2 especially, the penalty is so big if you miss it just by a little bit, and the Pro 4s just eat it up all at once. So it was a bit tricky with how much the track changed with all the trucks on the track. Huge amount of wear by the end of it. It was difficult to manage a bit, but yeah, glad to come home with the P3.
You started this race in the number 2 spot in class. Tell us about the land rush start here at Crandon and kind of ignoring the Pro 4s. What was it like trying to keep pace with Josh and Keaton over the course of a 12-lap race, where typically in a Pro 2 race, a Pro 4 race here in the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series, we're talking about that midway yellow, right, to reset everything. Not the case. So, yeah, 12 laps is relatively a short sprint race, but, you didn't have the same format quite like you're used to.
Yeah, it's true. Although, running the Pro 4 qualifiers has got me in a rhythm to be able to run 12 laps or 15 laps without a break in the middle of it. So I felt like that those weeks of preparation were helpful for this. But yeah, it feels like quite a long time with that many laps in a row. It definitely a demand mentally.
Really a big truck as well. Talking to some, or big track, I should say, talking to some of these other drivers about what's coming next. A lot of focus towards the World Championship. What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, feeling good about that. Pretty much locked into it. I think 7th in the qualifier standings last time I looked, but yeah, really looking forward to that, and it's going to be wild with the inverts and such huge fields. Looking forward to a lot of real tight racing for sure in that series.
Certainly looking forward to seeing the success that you guys could have in that one. Josh, we'll let you get out of here, celebrate the podium. Before we do, as always, sponsors and shout outs. Who do you want to say hi to?
All right, yeah, thanks a lot. Gotta shout out the whole Williams Esports crew here: Ben Q, Chill Blast, Fanatec, Playseat, Heitzingfeld Pedals, and of course Team Razor. And lastly, thanks a lot for the virtual off-road racing series for putting on a fun event like this. It's a good deal to mix it up and a really unique style. So glad to be a part of it.
We appreciated you being down there on track, putting on a show for us tonight. Again, Josh, congratulations on the good result. Thanks for chatting, and we'll see you in the World Championship.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
It's your third place finisher tonight, and of course, a third in class. Let's hand things back over to Joshua Lee, who is with the highest finishing Pro 4 truck. It's Cam Peterson, fourth tonight.
And always great to have Cam Peterson back with us here in the Racecraft TV booth. Haven't been seeing you too much lately, Cam, but you make a return to Virtual Off-Road Racing Series competition for the Challenge Cup, and you couldn't quite catch up to the top of the Pro 2s, but you're getting fourth place overall, passing, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere around 8 or 9 some odd Pro 4s. It's got to be impressive for you.
Yeah, I think we had a good run. I was running some pretty good laps. I felt like I was on pace to maybe reel Josh in. but we got into some troubles, because that can happen when you're running through traffic, right? So ended up monster trucking a Pro 2 and causing some havoc of my own as well. So, it was still fun though. Just live and learn for the next one, and hopefully next time we can get them.
And of course, coming out here, supporting Jim Beaver Esports as well in those General Tire colors, and moving forward into the Off-Road World Championship that's coming up. Of course, everyone wants to know, will you be taking part? Is there plans for you to take part? And if not, then what is your next focus when it comes to the iRacing East Short Course World? Because you make a return here. We saw you in the group therapy event in the Great Lakes 100 as well. What's next for you and the team?
Yeah, just like you said, going for the World Championships, definitely partaking in that. Recently, or I should say the last 8 months or 6 months, I haven't really driven these Pro 2 or Pro 4 trucks much at all. So, except for just the mandatory races to qualify for the World Championships. So I'm really looking to get dialed back in for all that, get the setups dialed back in, get comfortable again, and hopefully we can take that home if we can. The invert's going to be pretty wild in that. But yeah, I think there's still a lot of speed to get out of this truck, this General Tire 48 truck. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
And of course, who makes it all possible for you when you're out here on the East Short Course track?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone on the Jim Beaver Esports team, General Tire, Next Level Racing, Vision Wheel, all those guys, all the teammates, and Josh Edmondson of Voris for putting this on. And for you, Evan, Ian, Josh, all you guys for putting on this broadcast. I look forward to watching it. And to everyone watching right now, thank you very much.
And great to hear from you again. Congratulations on your Pro 4 win and 4th place overall. Not too shabby in the Challenge Cup.
Thanks, Josh.
Great to hear again from Cameron Peterson, and a valiant effort for him to try and get the overall win. But at the end of the night, it just was not enough to catch up to the dominant force that was Josh Edmondson tonight.
Yeah, it came down to obstacles, right? I think that the time delay in which that Pro 4 category was given was going to line them up perfectly with the Pro 2 class leader at the end of the race. But what we kept saying from the start was you need to watch for how much they struggle with traffic. And that was clearly the deciding factor in this one. Several bits of contact. First, amongst the Pro 2 battle, in which Cam Peterson went up and over another truck. For a moment, Alex Bergeron went to the Pro 4 class lead, and then amongst those Pro 4s into their own bits of contact. Again, Peterson the highest of the Pro 4s, but no closer than 12.1 seconds off of Josh Edmondson, who I think again needs to be the big storyline in this one. Josh continues to be oh so dominant, has been there in the conversation for all of these titles over the course of the Pro 2 and Pro 4 championships, and has not been able to get his name on one of those titles yet, but continues to win big races, and does it so here tonight, the Challenge Cup.
And this Challenge Cup is always awesome to see because it's just kind of everybody coming together, no points on the line, just complete bragging rights, and we get to take two of the funnest vehicles on the iRacing service and put them to the test. And unfortunately tonight, we've seen it before, no Pro 4 was able to catch up to the top of the Pro 2 class, and we had 3 Pro 2 drivers prevail. Cam Peterson tried but could not do it. I'm excited for the next Challenge Cup when we take these drivers again after a World Championship, after another season of wars, and put them on the track in 2 completely different vehicles again. It's going to be exciting to see. And now with the Off-Road World Championship on the horizon, the energy is going to shift, and it is going to be a massive push from all of these teams and all of these drivers to get ready for that World Championship. We've seen so many seasons of the virtual off-road racing series, and now there's a lot of money and a lot of bragging rights in the iRacing world behind it.
And I think it's a good way to end the virtual off-road racing series calendar on a fun note. These drivers were able to enjoy another unique event as the rest of their 2022 truck calendar gets really serious. Until next time, though, that is it for us here tonight from virtual Crandon, Wisconsin. So on behalf of our entire team at Racecraft TV, for the folks at the virtual off-road racing series, and for our partners at Next Level Racing and your team tonight, tonight. For Ian Fisher downstairs, for Josh Willie, our producer, and myself, Evan Pasoko. But thank you for tuning in and congratulate Josh Edmondson. He is the 2022 Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Challenge Cup powered by Next Level Racing champion. We'll see you next time. We say let's go racing with more Vors action on Racecraft TV.